Kenya's economy is modernizing rapidly. To support the industrial growth mandated by the Vision 2030 strategy, the national workforce requires a massive influx of highly specialized human capital. For decades, that workforce was managed by the 844 education system. This chart shows the severity of that system's attrition, a 50% dropout rate between Standard 6 and Form 1. Half of the student population was leaving the system before reaching secondary school. This wastage occurred because the structure was strictly oriented toward high-stakes examinations. Students who could not memorize content for these tests were pushed out, leaving them without the practical or entrepreneurial skills needed for the labor market. Meeting these economic milestones required replacing a system built on memorization with one built on practical application. The competency-based curriculum, or CBC, focuses on how students use information rather than how much they can remember. A learner must demonstrate their skills in measurable, real-world tasks. This changes the classroom dynamic. Instead of lecturing from the front, the teacher guides these collaborative, student-led projects. To standardize this across the nation, the Kenya Institute of Curriculum Development created the Basic Education Curriculum Framework. By the end of this module, you are expected to identify the theoretical pillars of this framework, define its 7 core competencies, and explain the mechanics of the senior school pathways. Internalizing this framework is the professional requirement for any educator operating in Kenya today. This diagram shows the official Basic Education Curriculum Framework house. The roof represents the overarching goal, producing engaged, empowered, and ethical citizens. 3 pillars support that goal. The first is values, weaving respect and responsibility into daily lessons to shape every student's character. The second pillar, theoretical approaches, shifts the focus to constructivism. This operates on the idea that students build their own understanding through experience and interaction. The third pillar contains guiding principles. These enforce equal opportunity for all students and acquire the inclusion of diverse learning needs within the classroom. Without these 3 pillars, the curriculum has no structural support and becomes mere rote memorization. In this framework, a competency is defined as the ability to apply appropriate knowledge and skills to successfully perform a function. These competencies map directly onto the foundation steps of the framework house. The first 3 are communication and collaboration, self-efficacy, and critical thinking and problem-solving. The foundation continues with creativity and imagination, citizenship, and learning to learn, helping students build on prior experiences. The 7th competency is digital literacy. It is treated as a practical tool for communication and learning across all subjects. Subjects like math, history, and science are the specific contexts where students demonstrate and refine these 7 core competencies. Under the CBC, if a student passes a written exam but cannot demonstrate these 7 competencies in a real-world situation, the learning objective has not been met. The 844 system functioned as an identical funnel for every student. The CBC replaces this with individualized opportunity. This flowchart shows the Nyayo, or pathways, at the senior school level, where learners specialize based on aptitude and interests. The Arts and Sports Science track and the Social Sciences track pipeline students into specialized careers ranging from linguistics and law to performing arts. To place students correctly, educators use continuous formative assessments. This allows for a deep understanding of a student's strengths before they choose a track. This structure acknowledges that learners process the world through different strengths, whether spatial, musical, or logical. These differentiated pathways allow a student's specific cognitive profile to determine their academic route. This graphic shows the 3rd senior school pathway: science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. This chart shows a strategic goal. To drive national industrialization, the government intends to channel 60% of all learners into the STEM pathway. To ensure these skills are applied, the curriculum includes a mandatory subject for every student: community service learning. This grounds the curriculum in the cultural concept of Harambee, or pulling together. It requires students to apply their classroom knowledge to the needs of their community. For example, students might apply biology and chemistry concepts to test local water quality or manage a reforestation project in a neighborhood. Community service learning is the diagnostic test for the framework. If a competency cannot improve the local community, it has not been truly mastered. For the educators and university students taking this module, the focus now shifts to your professional practice. You have seen how the outcome-driven CBC model addresses the failures of the previous system. You have deconstructed the framework house from its 3 theoretical pillars to its 7 foundational competencies. Continuing to lecture at a chalkboard while using this material will prevent students from ever developing the competencies the system requires. Your role has changed. The modern Kenyan teacher is no longer just a lecturer, but a true architect of experiential learning. As you prepare for your final assignment, consider the diverse environments across Kenya. Imagine being assigned to implement this curriculum in a rural county with very few physical resources. How will you ensure your students achieve mastery in digital literacy and STEM competencies without access to high-end infrastructure? True educational reform is not just a policy. It is achieved through the daily, adaptive, and creative decisions of the Kenyan educator.